Welcome to Move, Elevate, Thrive, a podcast sponsored by the Pilates Center of Austin.
We're here to unveil the superpower you didn't know you have. Hello, welcome to the Move, Elevate, Thrive podcast. Today, our subject is centering and how you can get there as the viewer and why it's so important for all of us to just center every now and then, once a day or once a week,
Yeah.
preferably every day.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you brought this up as a subject because, one thing that we see in the studio often or in our sessions is people come in from a very frenzied world, frenzied schedule, traffic in Austin is getting that much worse and don't know where to go, how to get to you. I mean, it's amazing how much of that stress they come in through the door.
And transfers,
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to, we often say grounding or centering, having people develop that practice at the onset actually is a springboard for the rest of the work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I found too, as I've recently come on to the PCA staff and actually, working here and doing sessions, I've experienced that too. And for MFR, they're just laying there on the table. And so they're not going to go into a movement with Pilates. And so sometimes I have to remind myself, hey, they need to be relaxed. They need to be calm. Because if I start working with them, there's not going to be much result.
Right.
Unless I'm calm, it'll still bring some, but not the best because they're not there mentally.
Right.
Because they're still thinking about, that meeting I just left, or I have a doctor's appointment right after this that I have to get to.
Yeah.
And a lot of people worry about traffic and just so many external factors.
Yes. So let's look at what is centering. So when we talk about centering, we're talking about not just closing your eyes and even doing some kind of mantra. Sometimes you can get some benefit, but there's a deeper reason why you're doing those things.
Yeah.
Those are still things you're doing. Centering is has a deeper relationship with, we talk about the mind, body, spirit, and how you're getting those three things to come into one space.
Right.
So we say presencing, we say grounding, we say being aware of where your body's in space. I'll even use proprioception, how you're sensing where your body's in space.
Right.
Because if you don't know if you can't tell, you're having trouble just feeling centered, being in your own body, then it's hard to really you're still in a place of fight or flight.
Yeah.
So remind me, what is that again?
So fight or flight is typically activated by our sympathetic nervous system. And a very obvious example is you're about to go do a race, you're about to lift something heavy, you're about to do something you're nervous about.
Right.
And so you'll feel your heart rate rise. You might even feel a flutter in your chest or just this overall nervousness.
Yes.
It's your sympathetic nervous system activating, but it's necessary because it helps us push through the hard things or, in child labor, sports, everything.
Right.
And then you want to talk about the parasympathetic too?
Yeah, but let me stay on that. So the sympathetic system, so yes, it is helpful, and yet there's times, as you mentioned, where it can be a fear thing. Right now, it's going to be Halloween on Friday, and
or
sometimes
somebody
a scary
broke in
movie,
your house.
or breaking something in your house. Maybe you even lost a family member. People are going through hard things right now, right? And you're caught in that space,
right?
And your tunnel vision. That's another word, because you can only see what needs to get done,
right?
And there's really no discernment or really looking outside the box. It's you're only in this fishbowl right now.
What I like to call it is the blinders, blinders on a horse.
Yes,
makes them only see straight.
There you go.
That's exactly what we do to the mind if you're constantly stuck in fight or flight.
And that's the funny thing. You can say that exactly. You can get stuck there. Even when the situation has ended, you will still continue in that state unless you address where you are.
Exactly.
And that's what we're talking about.
And what I like to, one thing I want to bring up is in therapy, a lot of people are like, oh, my therapist helped me realize that this from my childhood is the reason why I am today. What does that mean? Yeah. Well, that means there is something in the subconscious that is still controlling how they outwardly act, how they think about other people, how they view the world.
Right.
One thing that I liked, what really hit with me was I'm going to present you with 3 different situations. You're sat at home by yourself. Your family left. You're just home alone. Whatever, right? Like the movie. Anyway, you hear a rattle. So you can either think, someone's breaking in, my family's coming home, or, oh, it's just the wind. That is 3 different possibilities your brain can do. And it can do drastically different things. If you think someone's breaking in, you're probably going to jump up, sympathetic nervous system, act like immediately. Activated, right? Because you're scared. You're like, whoa, something's happening, and that will govern the way you handle the noise. Yes. Right? It couldn't. You don't even know what it is yet. And then if you think it's just wind, you're not as worried about it. You're still in your parasympathetic state, watching your favorite show. Doesn't bother you. But if you think it's your family, that's the sympathetic nervous system's now happy. So now you're probably getting some feelings of joy, of dopamine, rushing in all that serotonin. Right. And so you see how those 3 different scenarios just all depends on how you think about it. Wow. So this is a quote from Carl Jung. He says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. So think about, what does that mean? You know, it means like, it's kind of like the scenarios I brought up. Like, if you're just automatically wired to think that way, it's going to change. It's going to make you scared. It's going to make you happy, or you're going to neutral. You don't care. Yes. And so that's why centering is so important, because you're getting into the subconscious mind. I know one time I told someone, like, when we're talking about MFR and the importance of centering, they're like, oh, I space out all the time. I can do that. So what's the difference between that? What is spacing out? What is centering? Right. So like when someone spaces out, you know, they're not in the present. They're not even in themselves. They're in their mind a little bit, you know, they're still thinking, but you know, that kind of far away look. Yeah. And like they could be in a room full of people, but it's like a far away look. So oftentimes that can mean signs of trauma or PTSD, but sometimes we just check out. Yeah. But that's not centering, because you're probably not breathing. You're not even thinking about breathing. You're not thinking of your bodily functions. Right. You're just lost in thought.
So let me add to that, because I think there's that piece, and then there's something else that I've studied a little bit about called the flow state. And it's interesting because like there's someone who can really dial in, like say they're in something that they really enjoy, like say someone's gone fishing, somebody's they're creating pottery, somebody who is even doing your job and they really just like they're honed in flow state. And so there's a point where their body is going to a place where they're so comfortably ready to accomplish this task that it almost becomes like it's not that they check out. It seems they check out because they're just in this thing and they're not really attuned to the rest of the world. Yeah. But it's just that they're in a flow state in their mind where they're actually like locked in and they're completing something, a task, and it just feels like time goes by like this. Yeah. But then I think what you're also saying is when people check out, like yes, there's a fear state or there's a paralyzed state. Like I know that from running a business. Sometimes when I have so much on my plate, I can end up in a paralyzed state where I'm like, God, there's so much to do. And I'm just like end up like scrolling or doing something that's just ignorant and not useful with my time. Yeah. But I get in a frozen state and then I check out. Like there's that too. So I think what we want to bring up here is how do you recognize it, right? That's how do you recognize where you're in a place where you lost productivity? You can't really engage with the world. Or maybe it's a fear state. Maybe you're in a situation where you need to be focused and accomplish something or get away from something that's very fearful or frustrating or whatever emotional thing that is. A big thing that I've learned is removing judgment. Like I think sometimes when judgment comes in and what should be like this or I should have this self-judgment or judgment of a situation or judgment of another person. Right. You start, or I'll just speak from my own experience, I can jump into, okay, well, I need to do this, in order to accomplish this. Because I'm very like, I want to get a task done. Right. And if I see something's in the way, I'll just kind of like be in a bull in a china cabinet or something, you know, that's just not really be thoughtful. So then I get stuck in it. And that also is not a really focused, centered state. Exactly. So it's like, how do you recognize it, stop, and like, but then in the Carl Jung, the quote, recognize it unconsciousness reaction. Yeah. That's just like, bam. Exactly. Instead, take a deep breath. I think we're going to go back. We're going to get to like solutions here in a minute. Yeah. Breath is key. In Pilates, that's one of the things you taught, breath. Once you recognize the state, how do you step back and then change it?
So I know that one of the things that, like, helping for a specific situation like that, where you have a big task and then bam, there's a pitfall or there's something blocking, there's a
Right.
roadblock.
Uh-huh.
And like you said, what I think you were saying was like it kind of helps, or it kind of gets you stuck there. And then you just revolve around that problem and it makes it super hard to move forward.
Right.
And so, like, what I've found from my personal experience, like, when I'm in a situation, I'm not a business owner like you, so I can't relate to that exactly, but, like, and where I'm in a situation where it just feels like there's too much on my plate, like, I can't control this. I have to, what I've taught myself and learning, I'm still learning every day, but accept it. It's going to happen. Can you stop it? Can you stop this roadblock that's inhibiting you from completing your task?
Yeah.
No. If you can, then fix it. But if you can't, okay, then I'm just going to do the best I can. I'm going to do what I know, and I'm going to accept each challenge as it happens.
Right.
As a former firefighter, one of the things, the quote we say is, react, adapt, and overcome. So react is your first initial, situation, new situation, and then you adapt. You're like, okay, and then you capture that situation, and instead of honing in on it, you're figuring out, you're still having your mind open and using all the external factors, all of your awareness, and it helps you bring about the solution to where you can overcome.
Right.
And then you get past it.
Yeah.
So that's helped me a lot. Just like accepting the things you can't change.
Yes.
And it's been the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life.
Yeah.
Because I'm exactly like you. I mean,
Yeah.
like father, like son. But I do the same thing. Like, I was like, wow, he's describing me right now.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's one of the things I've found has really helped. And so, as you were talking about with breath, do you utilize that in that moment, or how would you recommend that to the viewers?
So I would say, I appreciate you saying that, react, adapt,
Overcome.
because that's something that there's something recently that happened where in the business part and even some home stuff, but where I like, so it's like, how you want to be able, like you said, to change something.
Right.
But I'll get a little personal here as a Christian and as a father of 9 kids and amazing wife, and then the business, like there's a lot on my plate. So like, again, just to go into how do people, and again speak for myself, how do people tend to stay in that state? If things aren't like going smoothly, you want to try and get to a solution as quick as possible. At least that's where I get stuck.
Exactly.
And I want to get that solution so that way I can focus on everything else instead of having to like spend time with all this. But then they've been practicing what you just said. Like, even I guess I'm just from my own, like, trusting where God has me, and I truly believe nothing can happen on accident. Like, things happen for a purpose, and so okay, I'm here for a purpose. Step back. So I step back and just like step back, see the situation, and then jump in. And then I look at not like breath as a second thing, but I think those kind of happen at the same time. Maybe unconsciously, maybe I don't know, but yes, once you start like thinking about breath and then take a breath slowly, and that's key too, because I think there are times when and I've seen this with clients or even with people with on the table doing flash release, or when we did seminars, they'll take a deep and there's this like, it's a breath and you think it should be a calming breath,
Right.
but often it's more of a doing breath.
And it almost sounds exasperated,
right?
Or exacerbated even. It just sounds it's forced. It's not natural.
Yes.
It's not, and especially the exhale, because they're just,
right.
like that's not. I just completely tightened up my chest and tightened up my sternum. I'm not doing anything for my body. And I liked what you said earlier. Think of it: is it feeding you, or are you just breathing?
Right.
Is it feeding you? And like once you truly center, I found in breathing, once you're truly centered there, it truly feels like it's feeding you.
Yes.
I mean, even when you did that diaphragm release, like it felt like my breath was finally feeding me again, because I could feel it all the way in my torso, down into my legs. Like it was amazing. Yeah. Because I had that freedom.
Well, I mean, on that note, like now that we've done more studies in MFR and with Pilates and with Wendy and all the people that I've learned from, like now we know that the breath, the diaphragm, And here's Bones, by the way. Seymour, we call him, lovely. So did you know that the lungs and the diaphragm, they connect pretty much in the middle, like around T12, T11, T12, and that's it's called the crura. It also innervates with the psoas. So you have the lungs, the diaphragm, and the psoas all connecting to the spine.
Wow.
And that's huge because we know the psoas is such a big muscle that goes all the way down and connects to the leg on both sides. When that guy is tight, it closes the spine, cuts off your ability to breathe. The diaphragm can't do its work.
Right.
So by allowing for a nice, even, full breath, and the way we teach people is like, take a breath through your nose, and then exhale through your mouth slowly. Not like a push, just allow. And all of a sudden, some people they'll push it out, like they're smoking or something, whatever. No, it's just like you're just allowing it. Or we'll make sound and help the voice box vibrate, and that'll create a vibration that allows the whole spine to like move, and then there's like a little massage happening right there. Yeah. But now we know also that the vagus nerve, inside the spinal cavity is the dura tube, and inside the dura tube is the vagus nerve. And so when you're allowing all that movement to happen, you're helping the dura tube find flow. And John Barnes talks about the fact the dura tube should have I think he said 3 to 6 millimeters of play from the skull to the sacrum. And when it doesn't, and you can feel it when you're with people because the head's very heavy, it's just stuck. But when we do that dura tube release and you feel the breath opens up, the back opens up, I mean, it's amazing, right? But again, we're talking about how do you practically, you recognize that you're not centered, you're ungrounded, you're just reacting. You recognize, you see it, you stop, then you take the breath. And you let your eyes soften. That's what Wendy would often add, soften your eyes too, because sometimes we get so hard focused. Right. If you soften your eyes, that's another thing. But anyway, allowing the breath to help us feed and soften, then you feel your whole body is kind of melt.
Absolutely, yeah. What I've noticed though is a lot of people, as you're saying, force it, right? And if you don't, what people need to remember is you can still breathe when you're asleep. Are you controlling that while you're asleep? Right. No, not that you know of, right? Yeah. Do you remember breathing in your sleep? Right. I don't either. So think about it that way. You don't need to be forcing your breath. Right. Your breath will come. Because it has to. Because it's a whole system. It knows what it's doing. And you need to be there to listen. Yes. You need to be present with yourself. Yeah. Not spaced out, not over here, not over there, just with yourself. And just remember that. The body knows what to do.
It's amazing.
Just follow it. Yeah. And so whenever you feel I just don't feel centered still, I still don't feel centered, well, you can tell because your mind is just allowing itself to spiral and not just hone in on yourself. Yeah. I like to think of it as a tent. Like when you're in a situation, you're in the tent, there's people fighting, you're like, whoa, get out of the tent. And then compose yourself. Okay, now I'm ready to handle the situation. Whatever, right? But it's just removing yourself from that way. One of my favorites is just pretend you're the astronaut floating in space. Yeah. And then everyone else is this big. Yeah. And then why does everything, what matters about that? It's there's no reason to get stuck on this one thing. Just think about it. Think there's such a bigger picture out there. There's something bigger than you and I out there. Right. There are 8 other billion people out there. Who all are having stresses too. Yeah. So what's the point of being stuck in that state? Yeah. I found that for myself mostly. I've been stuck in a state of just fight or flight. Just my sympathetic nervous system constantly going. Because I just kept having things thrown my way and I just couldn't handle it. And then it broke me. And then I was able to really find healing. Mostly through MFR and, other personal things. But just really centering has been the thing that has helped me the most. Just get through the chaos of life and finding that peace with God. I also am a Christian too, but it helps me with that too. Yeah. I like the one verse that says, be still and know that I am God. To be still and just quiet your mind, and then like you said, recognize there's something bigger. Right. That we, again, even though we get so caught up in all the things,
sometimes that can lead to feelings of like I mentioned earlier about being stuck or being frozen because you freeze because you don't know how to react. Sometimes depression, it could be depressing because you don't know how to be there, so am I not enough? I mean, it could be signs of like you're just tired all the time too. Like that's one thing I feel sometimes. When I get tired, I'm just like I'm so tired. My mind is so heavy.
Yeah.
Like recently, once we completed our whole like MFR training and our massage training, and we got our licenses and went through all that process. I can't tell you how light my head felt after we were done. But like, so there's external forces that happen, right? And so we're not going to ignore that. But I think, as you said, the more you accept it and see it, then you can just be with it, not react to it. And I think it's a hard thing because we all do it. So it's not. There's never a perfect prescription. It's just more like, how do you be with where you are? Like, how do you stop yourself?
Yeah.
And I think a big thing is phones. I have felt that recently. I've been trying to practice more. Just put my phone down at night and just notice the color of the room. Notice my children. Notice talk more to my wife. It's how so much pulls us with the phones nowadays or the TV or even all that we don't stop and just be in the space around us. There's so much to be said about that. So, but I think, yes, go back to breathing, sensing where your body is in space. Yeah. We can talk about a number of solutions, but.
Just one more thing. You have to remember as well that, like, we're not saying just do it. It's not Nike, like, where you're, like, in a tough situation. Just do it. Just do it. Just go through it.
Right.
No.
Yeah, no.
It won't happen.
It won't.
It's just like with MFR. If I come in and hit someone, their body's going to be like, and it's going to hurt. They're probably going to bruise.
Yes.
But guess what? When I slowly start and then I get deeper in there, I'm pressing super hard. But there's no bruise. Because the body allowed me to be in there. It let it in. And so centering is a very delicate process. It's not just putting your head down, putting the blinders on and doing it. It's no. Because then you're going to mess up. And then you're still keeping yourself stuck. Yeah. In that sympathetic reactive state. And I don't think it's even just a reaction. You're succumbing to it.
Right.
You're letting the situation control you and dictate how you live your day.
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to talk about was just how the parasympathetic nervous system. So there's two parts, right? So there's sympathetic, parasympathetic. They're both a part of the autonomic nervous system. So sympathetic, we already talked about that. But parasympathetic is responsible for rest, relaxation, and also food digestion.
Yeah.
And so you experience that when you're at rest, when you're in sleep. But if your sympathetic's messed up, could be why you're not sleeping good.
Right.
Because your brain is still on.
Yes.
And you're not aware of it because you've been pushed out, And so just that's why breathing is so important, because the moment you exhale, the moment you exhale, you automatically activate the parasympathetic nervous system, because that immediately should bring about a decreased heart rate, a decreased blood pressure. Right. It should help you feel more calm.
Yes.
And that's why massages are great for releasing dopamine, because it helps release our happy chemical. Yeah. So, do you have anything else to say on that? I think
this is great. I think we've tapped into recognizing it, seeing what it is, seeing what being ungrounded looks like, being uncentered looks like. I think we do let's do another podcast and let's talk about how do you get into the parasympathetic system that you just mentioned. Yeah. And help people develop that sense more.
And we'll get more into breath work and just maybe just a little 1 minute thing and help people get through that. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So I look forward to it. That was a great start.
Yeah.
Good to centering.
Yes. And as Jacob is now teaching a myofascial self-treatment class that we have on Saturdays at 12:30 here at the studio. If you can come, great. If not, we are looking at maybe offering it online soon. I think that'd be fun.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But love to see you there. Make sure you join. You have anything else to add?
No, I think that's good. We'll explore more later.
All right. So thank you for joining us for part 1 of centering. We'll see you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.